Oh, Jorge, I hope I look okay for the season 2 premiere of Drag Race España. I don't want to look too caliente. Hey, hi dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race España Season 2, Episode 1. And I just want to warn you now, I'm going to butcher this beautiful language. I don't mean to, but this is a foreign tongue that just doesn't want to fit in my mouth. You heard me. So, to get us, and by us, I mean me, in the mood, Jorge, drink me! Ooh, it's like a pink iceberg. Oh. And I'm going to go down like the Titanic. It's not going to be pretty. Oh, pink pucker. Fabulous. Thank you, Jorge. All right, let's get started. It looked to me like the workroom got a little makeover since last season. It seemed bigger, which is a good thing because we've got 2 more queens this year than we did last year, I'm just saying. First through the workroom doors was Samantha Valentine, who seems to like to travel with a traveler in honor of her fans who say she's a lush. Can you get me a to-go cup for when this is over? Next into the workroom, looking like a cross between Plava Laguna from The Fifth Element and a Star Wars slave girl, was Onyx. I just love this queen's alien aesthetic, but she had better have packed a few terrestrial looks or she's going to get sent right back out those doors. I'm so serious. Right away, Samantha got on Onyx's nerves with her constant chatter. Onyx wasn't the only one. And then they started playing with each other's boobs. At least I hope those were boobs on Onyx. For all I know, that's what she uses to eat with. Did she say she was from Venus? And then they were distracted by the sound of a cowbell that was being rung by the next queen through the workroom doors. It was Venedita Von Dash. Although, why she was ringing a cowbell when she was dressed in a zebra print is beyond me. Mind you, she looked so stunning that I just didn't care. Someone who did care was Onyx, who couldn't take her eyes off Venedita. Now I see why Onyx said she's been wanting to meet Venedita for a while now. Watch. They're going to need a room. Seriously. Next into the workroom, fresh from the Canary Islands, was Drag Setla, looking all kinds of holier than thou. She's not kidding when she says she's the most famous drag queen from the Canary Islands, because all of the queens in the workroom knew exactly who she was. Okay, yes, it was only 2 queens, but still. Onyx even told Setla that she's the reason for her doing drag in the first place. It didn't look like Samantha was buying it. Who knows? Maybe Onyx is here to mate and then go back to Venus. We'll just have to see. Next through the workroom doors was Estrella Extravaganza, but you can just call her Star, which I don't have a problem doing if she's going to keep wearing hats like that. I'm so serious. Keeping it simple in red, white, and black, including her makeup, Star seemed tickled pink to be in the workroom and greeted everyone with love and apparently sweat. Samantha seemed happy to see Star, who she's worked with before. Then, for some reason, Setla suggested they all hide on the next queen. So they did. And then poor Pebbles Flintstone, Ariel Rec entered the workroom. For a hot second, Ariel thought she was the iconic first queen through the doors, but the rest of the cast popped out of hiding and her fantasy was over. Bless. Venedita was surprised to see Ariel in heels. Apparently, she doesn't wear them. Maybe she's a flip-flop girl like Willow Pill. There seemed to be a little tension between Ariel, whose drag sister is last year's runner-up Killer Queen, and Setla, whose drag mom is Drag Volcano, who was eliminated in episode 2. Clearly, there was some family honor to defend for both these queens. Before Ariel and Setla could start slapping each other, Marina walked into the workroom in a nautical fantasy, which included a ship's wheel purse. I loved it. So did Estrella, who's worked with her as well, and admitted that Marina can be cold and standoffish at first, but once you get to know her, she's a really cool girl. We'll see. She certainly didn't warm up to any of the other queens who seemed to have an issue with Marina only using one name. Hello, Cher, Madonna, Beyonce, Oprah, Seal, Morrissey. What rocks do these queens live under? Seriously. Next into the workroom was this season's youngest queen, Jota Carajota, looking fabulous in a classic flamenco silhouette. Because Jota refers to herself as a neo-folkloric Martian drag artist, I was expecting her to clash with Onyx. What I wasn't expecting was for Estrella not to be happy to see her. Estrella likes everyone. Well, that's not true. She admits there's only 3 queens she doesn't get along with, and one of them is Jota. I'm not surprised. Jota's 18. 18-year-olds are difficult at the best of times. We'll just have to see how well the others get along with her, I'm just saying. Star isn't the only one who had issues with the other queens. So does Samantha, but she wasn't naming names until all the queens were present and accounted for. Ooh. Are you kind of hoping that the person she hates shows up? You're a horrible person. Marisa Prisa was next through the doors in a quick change milkmaid fantasy. Everyone seemed to be happy to meet the first queen from Galatia. Well, everyone but the 18-year-old. Who else is surprised? No one? Diamante Mary Brown was the 10th queen into the workroom, serving us lead dancer from Soul Train Fantasy and looking fabulous while she did it. As friendly as Diamante was, guess who wasn't happy to see her? Apparently, there's some bad blood between Diamante and Jota because Diamante took it the wrong way when Jota called her a frog queen. Talk about being oversensitive. Not. Frog queen. 11th into the workroom was Drag Race España's first trans contestant, Jorigi Dercli. She walked around the other queens and started saying hello to Samantha first. Guess who had a problem with that? You only get one guess. Next to the workroom doors was the breathtaking Sharone, whose Oscar gag was met with cool indifference from a couple of the queens. I have to say, as the oldest queen of the season at 45, Sharone looks good. And as nice as she seemed to be, Ariel revealed herself to be the ageist in the room by dissing Sharone and her generation. Can I just say that being 27 years younger than Sharone, I love that Ariel was already dismissing her as competition. It'll be interesting to see how quickly she realizes she's underestimated Sharone, whether she admits it or not. At least Venedita had the wherewithal to be intimidated, I'm just saying. Before any feelings could get hurt, Supreme's video message called them all to attention. I have to admit, I didn't recognize Supreme at first. Her wig and wardrobe styling made her look a lot younger than she did last year. And I mean that in a good way. Then Supreme was standing there before them in a suit that rivaled Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat. Even though Season 2 seemed bigger and better, the prizes are still the same. A year's supply of Crash Beauty cosmetics, a crown and a scepter, and 30,000 euros. Still better than Drag Race UK, I'm just going to say. Then, with the help of Drag Race España's first trans pit crew member, Eric, Supreme revealed the season's first mini challenge. Literally. In honor of Spain's Goya Awards celebrating the nation's film industry, the queens would be taking part in a photo shoot to recreate Francesco Goya's famed Naked Maja. Venedita was raring to go while, surprise, surprise, the 18-year-old felt Goya was too old-fashioned. Hell, Jota probably thinks Disney's El Canto is too old-fashioned. Right away, the queens made a grab for paints and accoutrements to enhance their nude illusion outfits and got down to work. And by got down to work, I mean got naked. While Sethla was worried about the comedy queen stealing the mini challenge out from under her. Spoiler alert, it was a good worry to have. Then it was time to hit the studio with photographer Mista and 2 more delicious members of the pit crew. And by members, I mean their eyes are up here. Seriously. Ariel was first, and she chose to be a mermaid for her photo shoot. I think she nailed it, although, to me, I think she'd have rather nailed the pit crew. She's not alone. Sethla was next, glittering in gold with a big leaf covering her between me down there. She also had a few bananas, but I feel like they were meant more to show off than to use as props. Marina was next and surprised Supreme by not bothering with the nude illusion and just going with what God had given her. And even though she looked nothing like Goya's Maja, it was still a stunning photo. Estrella went full panto with comedy tits and black paper for armpit and nose hair. Also, armpit and nose hair was the name of my fringe play. Hota needed help from her stuffed tiger for her photo shoot, or did she? I'm sure there's a stuffed pussy joke in there somewhere, but to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to make it. Jorigi's photo was stunning, but then, so is she. I thought Diamante's photo was gorgeous and demure for all her whore talk. I'm just sorry they couldn't find a better skin tone match for that new jumpsuit. And yes, whore talk was my drag queen name in high school. Onyx warmed up to Mista's camera by simulating a little necrophilia with the pit crew. Like you do, which explains the lack of sensuality in her photo. Am I the only one who noticed her socks? Benedita had no problem showing sensuality in her photo or rear end, although why she was still wearing black fishnets is beyond me. It just made her derriere look dirty, and not in the sexy way. I would have thought that Marissa's romp with the pit crew would have helped produce a better photo. But it sure didn't hurt, I'm guessing. Samantha got in the mood by creating a sex sandwich with the pit crew and Supreme. I'm guessing Samantha was the cheese. Finally, we had Sharone, who had made herself her own work of modern art by drawing and writing all over herself. Certainly made for a unique photo. And when the camera stopped clicking, Supreme announced that the mini-challenge winner was Estrella Extravaganza, much to Benedita's chagrin. Take a lesson, baby queens. Comedy tits win every time. That's why it was my drag queen name in high school. This week's Maxi challenge was a double runway. The queens would have to show two looks, one representing an iconic figure from their hometown and the other an iconic symbol. Oh, that means 24 looks down the runway. I don't think I need another sip. Just gonna say. The next day, the queens seemed in good spirits as they lambaded into the workroom, and then talk turned to the prospect of the upcoming elimination. Hota felt they should just send Diamante home and save everyone the trouble. She's 18. Of course, they had to discuss who was the trade of the season. Benedita and Setla seemed to be the odds-on favorite, although Jujuri admitted she was more of a Setla girl herself. Good for her. While she helped Ariel with her eyebrows, Marissa talked about what it was like having to move back home due to the pandemic as a drag queen and how proud she was to find her town of 10,000 people embracing the LGBT community with things like rainbow crosswalks. See, you can go home, I'm just saying. As Estrella talked about overcoming her body issues for the mini challenge, Marina talked about her journey of cross-dressing and drag and how it helped change her relationship with her body. Of course, that brought up Jorigi and her transition. I love it when someone says they always knew they were different. I can relate to Jorigi saying she always felt like a woman because I always knew I was gay. That's why I feel it's important for parents to listen to their children. They know more about themselves than you think, I'm just saying. Something that Sharon brought up was that in this day and age, you can be a trans woman without having surgery. It's something that Jorigi is asked about all the time by people she hardly knows. Can you imagine? Here's to Jorigi, seriously. Hota talked about the struggles she's had being a drag queen in the male chauvinistic gypsy community that she grew up in. But what was more interesting was that she has a girlfriend. That seemed to really impress the other queens. Here's the bisexual representation, seriously. And then it was time for the main stage, and as beautiful as Supreme's dress was, it was her wig that threw me off a bit, no offense. She seemed to be reverting to her old ways, old being the operative word. I thought this wig just aged her. Bless. Returning to the judges' table were a brunette, Javier Calvo, his life and business partner, Javier Ambrosi, and the always animated Anna Locking. And joining them at the judges' table, Latin pop diva, the Madonna of Mexico, Gloria Trevi. The first runway category was Queen of Your Hometown. Benedita Von Dash was breathtaking in her Lady Elche outfit. I thought she interpreted the 4th century limestone bust beautifully, so, of course, she got a Fingerdoo from me. She looks just like it, I'm just saying. Hota Hota's ode to singer Rocio Juarado looked a little simple, and I hated that you could see where her tights stopped through the dress, but I still gave her a Fingerdoo. I don't know, Rocio, maybe that's exactly how she dresses. Samantha Valentine's ode to the legendary aerial artist Miss Mara was a little too simple for me. Even though the feathered headdress and bustle were gorgeous, they kind of made the rest of the look cheap. So I gave her a finger don't. Ariel chose to represent pop legend Alaska, who was a judge last season. I'm sure she captured the energy of her album cover with that chainsaw, but I just didn't like the outfit, so I had to give Ariel a finger don't too. Seriously. Marina chose to represent drag artist and painter Jose Ocaña, and I, for one, thought she did Ocaña proud. This is a brilliant LGBT pioneer who used to dress up in her costumes and parade up and down the main street in Barcelona, and casually expose her between me down there. She's a legend. Look her up. Oh, and a great big old Fingerdoo from Marina, seriously. Diamante Mary Brown's ode to Augustina of Aragon was cute, but I think the idea was better than the execution. Still, when she fired her tit cannons, how could I not give her a Fingerdoo? Tit cannons always win. Jorigi Dercli chose Spanish fashion designer and aristocrat Agatha Ruiz de la Prada. I'm not too familiar with Agatha's work, but I absolutely love Jorigi's dress, even though one of the stars jumped ship. Fingerdoo for Jorigi, I'm just saying. Marissa Prissa was next, representing singer Marta Sanchez by paying homage to her charity work, particularly for cancer research, by dressing like the breast cancer pink ribbon. I have to admit, I hated this runway. It was too simple, so I had to give it a finger don't. Sharon picked Spanish soprano Montserrat Caballé as her hometown queen, so, of course, she sang as she walked the runway. I'm not a huge fan of opera, but Sharon's voice took my breath away. But the real surprise was the Freddie Mercury doll Sharon had in her hair as an homage to his voice as well. So I gave her a Fingerdoo. What do you want from me? Estrella Extravaganza's hometown queen was legendary prostitute Monica de Ravel. It's too bad Estrella stumbled as she left the runway. What's worse is her trying to say she meant to do it. Still, I gave her a Fingerdoo because who doesn't enjoy a prostitute? I was worried for Drag Setla as she took to the stage in a horrible Halloween mask, but then she explained she was representing Lolita Pluma, an artist and well-known character in Gran Canaria who sold paper flowers to the tourists and fed all the stray cats that followed her around. This made more sense when Setla removed the Halloween mask and dress to reveal Lolita as a cat herself, meow. I loved it and gave her a Fingerdoo. Surprising because I'm a dog person. I have to say I was worried that Onyx would be doing her alien thing for every runway, but she killed that idea right out of the gate with her ode to the Queen of Spain, Isabel II, and the legacy of the canal she commissioned to be built to provide Madrid with clean water. This outfit and concept was so beautiful, I had to give her a Fingerdoo. Seriously. I didn't even recognize her. The category for the second part of the runway was Symbol of Your Hometown. Benedita's hometown of Elche is known for two things. It's shoemaking and its palm trees. So Benedita wore a palm tree made out of shoe leather. I liked it. Fingerdoo for Benedita. Seriously. Hota's hometown symbol was the classic female bullfighter. I thought she looked great, even though the transition of her tiered skirt into a bullfighting cape wasn't as smooth as it could be. Still, well deserving of a Fingerdoo. Samantha's hometown symbol was the Murex mollusk, which is traditionally where the world got purple fabric dye from. Personally, I thought this runway was a little too literal. Just having a Murex shell on her head and the blue corset representing the sea with that tulle train and very little else, I mean, the least she could have done was have some purple paint dripping down from her shell. Just saying. Oh, and I gave her a Fingerdoo. Ariel's hometown symbol was an amalgamation of Neptune and the Madrid soccer team Atlético de Madrid. I liked this look, so I gave her a Fingerdoo. Marina's hometown symbol was the Eixample district in Barcelona, which her jacket represented beautifully, complete with the Agbar Tower at the foot of the diagonal avenue. Although, Marina's tower looked more like a thumb than a bullet, if you ask me. Also, the red mohawk on her head representing the red turrets of Casa de la Planches, aka House of Spikes, was cute. Although, truth be told, the House of Spikes has 6 turrets, not 4. As interpretive as this runway was, I felt she went too literal with it, and that's why I'm giving her a finger don't. I mean, did you recognize any of that if I hadn't told you what it was? No. Diamante's hometown symbol was the national sport of the Dominican Republic, baseball. As simple as this runway was, I actually liked the execution, so I gave her a finger due, I'm just saying. I love Jorigi's hometown symbol. It was literally a big yonic clam. She was so lovely and charming as she opened her clam, I couldn't help but give her a finger due. And I don't even like clams. Marisa Prissa's hometown symbol was the Santiago pilgrimage, but why she chose to depict the route to the shrine of St. James the Great in a white latex baby doll and cowl with red thigh-high boots is beyond me. I'm sorry, but this was another finger don't for Miss Prissa. Just saying. Sharon's runway was a bit confusing for me off the top. She had a church on her head and a gorgeous Dior shawl coat, and then, well, she pulled on the coat and it transformed into a representation of Antoni Gaudi's signature mosaic with pigeons all around the hem. Oh, I thought this was one of the better looks all evening, and I had no trouble giving her a finger due. Seriously, stunning. Estrella's hometown symbol was a combination of a flamenco dancer and an Andalusian horse. I didn't love this look, but I didn't hate it. And I love the color green, so I gave her a finger due. Drag Sethla's hometown symbol was the coat of arms of Las Palmas Gran Canaria. As much as I love the coat of arms, I actually enjoyed the red coat she had over it more. Still, finger due for Setla. Last, but far from least, was Onyx Ode to the Fallen Angel. This look was so hypnotic that it shut the judges up all together. They just stared with their mouths open. I have to admit, so did I. This look was breathtaking and more than deserving of a finger due. I have to say, if this is the level Onyx is going to hit that runway with every time, those other queens better worry. Seriously, here's to Onyx. Well done. And then it was time for the judges' critiques. First off, Diamante, Jorigi, Venedita, Ariel, Setla, and Estrella were all safe, so they frigged off out of there. As for the rest, Marissa didn't impress the judges very much with either of her runways. Hota was well received, but the judges wished her bullfighter presentation had gone better. The clear star of the show was Onyx, especially with her last look. As happy as the Javiers were to see Samantha on the show, they were very disappointed with both her runways, I'm sorry to say. Sharon was another clear fave of the judges, and they were particularly impressed with her singing. Marina's first look was a thrill for the judges in more ways than one, but they weren't as impressed with her second runway, bless her heart. Back in the Untucked Lounge, the safe queens seemed to be taking turns fingering Jorigi's clam as they discussed the pros and cons of being safe. Venedita, for one, thought her looks were better than safe, but the rest all seemed relieved to survive the season's first runway. Well, everyone except Setla, who thought her looks were better than Venedita and had no trouble saying so. Before Venedita could retaliate, the rest of the queens entered, and the big news was that Samantha and Marissa were obviously going to be lip-syncing. Samantha was especially worried because the judges seemed to be familiar with her videos, and so we're expecting more. Well, that's what you get for being famous, I'm just saying. As for the top two this week, everyone agreed that it was between Sharon and Onyx. And they weren't wrong. Back on the main stage, it was announced that this week's winner was indeed Onyx. Was there ever any doubt? Seriously. And as predicted, it was down to Samantha and Marissa for the first lip sync for your life of the season. The song they lip synced to was Todos Me Miran by Gloria Trevi. Seeing as this song's title is Everybody Look at Me in English, I was expecting both queens to go big. I was wrong. Marissa did okay and interacted with Samantha well enough, but she was giving a bar performance instead of a lip sync for your life, if you ask me. Samantha, on the other hand, went big, especially with her comedy. She slowly fought to remove most of her outfit, including her wig, which, in my opinion, is always death. But the judges loved it, and when the music died, so did Marissa's Drag Race dreams, as Samantha shantaed, and Marissa got the pork chop position of being the first queen to sashay away. Bless her heart. So, what did you think? Were the right queens in the bottom? Did the right queen go home? Even better, did the right queen win? Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and while you're down there, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and don't be shy about sharing this video with anyone you think is as big a Drag Race fan as we are. Until next week, miss me! Mwah. Seriously, Jorge. Oh my God, I have to tell you, it took me so much time to watch this episode because of the subtitles. I don't remember having this much trouble last year. I kept having to pause to read, and then I had to rewind it and then watch what had happened. It was very frustrating. I'm sure I'll get used to it as we go along, but this was surprising to me out of the gate. I'm so glad Onyx didn't do an alien look for the runway. And I'm so impressed with the two looks she did do. Her first runway as the Queen of Spain, oh my God, she looks so beautiful. And then that Fallen Angel. And the whole time she was in that outfit, she was in total character. That's impressive. That's a winner to me. I really think that this season's going to be down to Onyx and Sharon. And speaking of Sharon, didn't she say in the Meet the Queens that she pronounces her name Sharone? Everyone calls her Sharon, and she said she doesn't mind. She can even be called Charo, and she doesn't mind. I don't know, Sharone. Sharone! It just sounds more fun than Sharon. Sharon. It's like Lowenstein.